Hey everyone, what's up? This is Uri for Guerrilla Poker. Gonna do a two-tabling Zoom 200 with no particular concept today. Just gonna click around to see what comes up. Hopefully get into some fun hands. I actually tried recording a video where I was 4x opening. That's why I have the 4VB hotkey. But everyone was just folding all the time. And I feel like that's not the fair thing to do because I have a known name. So people will not react to me 4x opening the same way they might react to someone else. This is probably close versus his 3-bet size. Call from button for sure. But yeah, so like when I 4x open, a lot of the regs might not treat me the same way an unknown 4x opening would be treated. This is probably close with reg. I don't know how extreme the situation gets here. Yes, mostly a call. I'll 3-bet this one. Going to now bluff and spec the size. I think you could go various sizes. This is probably fine. I'm guessing NL200 guys don't see the overbets too often, so they might be a bit scared to bluff catch versus them. So maybe there should be a preference for like big bluffs, just to guess, right? Because you're supposed to face those fairly often on the river. And at node, when I check all flop, turn goes check, check. Lots of rivers where I get to overbet quite often. Yeah, if people are not used to facing overbets, it's just scary and your mind goes, well, I don't want to call an overbet and lose, right? So you might not have an organized thought process for how that spot works and, where your bluff catching threshold is, how to tell if you think I'm over bluffing or under bluffing, and all the things you would have versus a normal size where you have tons of experience might just disappear there. So that's the tiny idea. I'm curious if you guys have experience with doing that at these stakes. Basically, that when someone is mostly capped, right, not completely capped. I think if someone is completely capped, overbet might work differently and they might feel like they're being bullied. But here, like, he could have trips, just not very often, probably. Yeah, curious how it works. And I'll open a bit wider so we get some more action in the video. This is, I think, a pre-flop fold, but it's very close. So it doesn't really matter if you open it or not, as long as people are not adjusting to your wide opening range or something like that. Here it's small blind flatting range, I think, is pocket pair heavy. I like one big blind here with queens, and that probably calls a lot of those pairs. Now they turn into boats, but no real reason to bet if he has a diamond draw I want him to hit. If he has like a jack 10, queen 10, all those hands I kind of want him to hit. And now when he doesn't bet, the question is, can I value bet again? And I think the answer is probably not. It's probably a bit too tough to get called twice by fives versus the times he'll just trap. But it's close. It's close. Again, too loose to open, but not a big deal. It might even just be good and if your opponents are slightly nitty. The sport's not too good for cutoff. Although it gets better if I open all these low hands I'm not supposed to. I'll probably end up trying to show this down. That's the feeling I'm getting. Yep, looks like. Let's call this. We probably win sometimes. That's nice. So I think him not firing a bluff is very, very reasonable there. But still shows some discipline and generally speaking, you do want to fire a bluff there because most people overfold to the river probe in my shoes, and I would probably have folded my hand, but that's not the issue. Most people just overfold, and so you do want to, as a default, be firing bluffs. I'm not saying do it against me or do it against everyone, but your random NL200 guy check down pot bluffing's probably good. And yet, this might seem crazy, but there's just a ton of dead money in the pot. It's crazy, but not as crazy as it seems. I'm not saying that you should be open shoving there, but it's not that far off. This is probably close, and it's probably a fold, this rake structure. But the fact that it's just a fold due to rake just tells you how close it is, so it's not a big deal. We can call those in a video. Here will definitely not fold, and this doesn't seem like a great hand to ISO raise. I think I want to have some high card or something going on to actually ISO raise my hand. So say I'm bluffing, I'd go with like a king 5 offsuit rather than a 5-6, because then more likely to get through, and they're both kind of trashy hands. Yeah. Call this is rake structure, blah blah blah. And check fold flop, would call with a heart, and yeah, just a bunch of close decisions. The queen jack board, because he opens a lot of offsuit queens and jacks, just hits him a lot, hits me a lot. So I don't need to defend ace highs despite it being a small bet. If it had been queen deuce 4, I'd certainly call a6. So it's not my hand strength. Ace high can call or fold, but depending on the board texture you get and the positions and the ranges, it kind of varies. Which you just get used to that after a while. I feel like this feels kind of like a bad spot. He's betting kind of big. I make a straight on a 10, and then I'm coolered by ace king. Somehow I'm not the hugest fan of this hand. It might be like a GTO call, but I think it's fine to skip. And here, these BVB spots for this video, I'll be mostly just simplifying. So I'm not saying this is the ideal bet size, but it does okay. Right, basically saying this is my board. I'll start with a small range bet and then split my range on the turn. Even if maybe that's not like the ideal balancing way to do it. And so he checks back turn. I think this hand is supposed to just try to show down. It doesn't feel good enough to do anything else. And here I will bet very small ones. Nice that I won. That's surprising. Yeah, probably just barrel. Hand's good enough to put a stack in. We get a nice run out in the sense that, like on an 8, maybe we'd end up losing to ace 8. So it's nice that it's a 3. A bit of a cleaner value bet than some other runouts, but probably shoving anyway. And I think this is a shove. So if we were 100 deep, I'd never go 3 streets with his hand. But 50, I think he's supposed to just go with ace queen more often, 3. So I just expect my hand to kind of be stronger than it looks like. But it's definitely a bit marginal. Like I'm not super duper duper thrilled to shove the river there. Just a bit happy. Here, people have started going more GTO-ish sizes. People used to go smaller. So that just gives more of my range a tough decision. King 4 might find some calls if he went with smaller sizes, but not that one. And here, ace 9 is kind of okay. It's just close on the turn. And then on the river, because we rivered an ace, he can now only bet trips for value. So he should go really big, and I think he should actually go bigger than this. I'll probably call due to that, but let me think about it. I'll actually fold, and I'll explain why. Hope he shows up. I'd love to make me feel bad, but yeah, I'll explain. So this is a bit of street poker stuff, and I might actually call a 7-9. I think there's a high chance he doesn't value bet very thin, and yeah, I think this is just calling. Okay, that's fair. So yeah, basically, imagine he's bluffing. I think there's a decent likelihood he doesn't realize this dynamic and that he needs to suddenly overbet the river. And he might, give up. He might fire a too small bet. And so when he does find the big bet, I think that kind of weighs his range to be more likely value than it should be. I could be very wrong on this. And then I look at my hand, and my hand it's just indifferent in theory, right? At anything that's not a 10 or a6 or ace 3 or etc. You guys get the picture. It's just zero-ish EV in theory. Nine's a bit bad because I blocked 9-8 and 9-7, so it's not like a mandatory call by any means, right? Even though it's a high hand strength, I would actually rather call something like king 6 than ace 9. Hope that makes sense. These river spots, when your opponent's polarized, you don't go so much by your hand strength, and it's a lot more blocker related, and so it's not like a great call anyway, and I think the spot might be being underbluffed by him. So yeah, small poker strategy lesson there. Okay, so here my opponent's doing the opposite of what I was being lazy, like I'll just bet everything small. He's saying I'm sizing for my top range, and here my ace queen is going to have a very straightforward always call flop, always call turn decision generally. And then if he ships the river, we now only beat a bluff, and then theory start mixing. It's the way the hand should work. Does a king change anything? Good question. I never have a king. I'd fold all my kings on the turn, so I think not. If there were like a flush draw and the turn wasn't full rainbow, I could develop a shoving range. I don't think this king does it. It actually makes my ace queen beat ace 9 and ace 6, so it might make him now shove his own ace queen. So I guess I just have a call now. It's not a decision. We're just snapping it in if he bets. I think he's bluffing for what it's worth, but I have to snap it in anyway. Oh, quads. Okay, sure, dude. Nice hand. Here, I think with 3 players behind, I just fold this. No biggie. And reasonable time to end the video. Let's just see. Let's just get some pain from this one for everyone. Some people say I always run great, but look, I stopped myself from running great. I should have run great, but instead I lost. So yeah, last hand with Queen Jack suited, and we'll wrap up. You guys will see me do the lazy bet everything turn. Nice hand. It's a fairly strong hand. Let me think if I want to bet it. I think it's fine to keep betting. I wouldn't bet it huge, but it does well against his range. Okay, yeah, guys, let's wrap up here. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. No real concept, just felt like putting in a short session. And yeah, hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time.